Hello and welcome back to the Warhammer 3 news. I'm COLONELDAMNEDERS and today we have the legendary Lord mechanics for the Ogre Kingdoms. Now we've previously gone over the Ogre race mechanics, so these will all be small tweaks and changes that are unique to each Lord, so let's waste no more time and dive right in. So first up we have Greasus Goldtooth. His faction effects are 20 relations with other Ogre Kingdoms factions, 25% income from trade, and plus 25% to unit mass. Now these are shockingly peaceful, with only one of them having anything to do with fighting, and even then it's to make his own units even harder to get past. This is painting Greasus as a diplomatic leader who will unite the kingdoms and establish trade with as many factions as possible to generate himself even more wealth. Ogres are a traditionally neutral faction, so you'll be able to use this to get everyone on your side, and maybe even play both sides. That way you always come out on top. As for his Lord effects, he gains 50% income from raiding, sacking and looting settlements, and minus 50% upkeep for iron goods. Again, we have a strong focus on gathering as much wealth as possible, so when you're roaming around warring on whoever you feel like, you're going to be earning a seriously large amount of coin, especially if you manage to sack some high tier settlements. This will also scale super well into the late game, as you will quickly snowball and generate obscene amounts of gold. The Iron Guts cost reduction is also a great touch for getting more of what look to be the top line, front lines infantry of the Ogres. We're also getting a look at Greasus' skill tree. He has 4 unique skills all along the same line and available from the start based on his legendary titles. These are Tribe Stealer, which grants a large buff to Ogre relations as well as melee attack and weapon strength when fighting against them. Goldtooth, which grants a buff to leadership and armor for his army. Drake Crush, which grants him bonus versus large. And Over Tyrant, which grants increased casualty replenishment, recruit rank, and local recruitment capacity. He also has 3 unique skills based around camps, though we do not find out what these are aside from the best camping, which increases camp limits by 1. Aside from this, he shares the same tree as regular tyrants, which looks to be a very standard lore tree with the blue line for campaign, red for battle, and yellow for self-improvement, as well as the top row for all sorts of random buffs. Of course, he also has his big names, and while we don't learn what each of them do, we do find out their names and can do some assuming. Shockingly Obese, which likely increases his unit mass and HP. Gatecrasher probably grants bonus damage versus gates. Trade Lord probably increases trade income for the faction. And Horde Master, which probably improves his armies in some way, but I can't figure it out. Now his starting location is at the Great Hall of Greasus along the Ivory Road. This is a central location on the map and borders various other Ogre Kingdom factions. You can choose to take on or make friends with as you see fit. You start war with one of them called Crossed Clubs that occupy 2 other settlements in your province, with the final settlements seeming abandoned only to reveal Skaven hidden away. Once you secure the other Ogre Kingdoms, you can go in whichever direction you please, and with you bordering so many other factions, you really do have quite a choice. You can also consider the other major players of the Demons to the north, Cathay to the east, and Kislev to the west. And finally, Greasus' starting army is 2 units of Ogre Bulls, 1 unit of Noblars, and a single Saber Tusk pack. Moving on to Scrag the Slaughterer now, his faction effects are 10% campaign move range for all characters, plus 1 capacity, and plus 2 recruit rank for butchers. Obviously, Scrag is a little less diplomatic than his pal Greasus, and is more of a wanderer that goes where the wind blows, and as such, he roams the world 10% faster than most. He, of course, favours butchers, so it only makes sense that he would want more of them and have them be trained quickly to get to cooking and pleasing the Great Maw. His Lord effects are 8% casualty replenishment rate and minus 50% upkeep for Gorgers. In his backstory, he spent a lot of time underground with Gorgers, so he has a bit of a unique bond with them, so these effects make total sense. Let's just hope Gorgers are a good unit, otherwise these effects could make him totally pointless. As for his skill tree, it differs slightly from your normal Lore of the Maw caster, with a couple of unique powers that improve him as an army commander and frontlines powerhouse. Some of these skills include the Maw's Feast, which grants cost reductions to offerings to the Maw, Gorger Onslaught, which summons a unit of Gorgers to battle, Whirling Stump Blades, which increases his melee attack and weapon strength, and Drive-By Visions, which further increases campaign move range. Now we actually see his big names and their effects, and they are Maw That Walks, which grants him 2 Winds of Magic Reserve per turn at the cost of minus 50% meat provided from camps, Gore Harvester, which grants 2 meat generation, Ever Famished, which grants 25% meat from camps and 10% from battles, and World Swallower, which grants 20 relations with all factions and 8% campaign move range. Scrag starts out far from all other legendary lords, with a settlement in the southern Grey Mountains in the southwest corner of the map. He starts out at war with Karak Ziflin, who control the other 2 settlements and the starting province. Once you're done with them, you really have your pick of the old world, with Reichland and many other Empire factions being nearby and standing between you and the rest of the map, so if you've ever wanted to eat Karl Franz, now's your chance. And finally, Scrag's starting army contains 1 unit of Noblars, 1 Gorgeous unit, and 2 units of Ogre Bulls. And that just about wraps up everything we have for now on the Ogres. Now I guess that's everything we'll find out about them before launch, since we have pretty much covered everything. Let me know in the comments what you think of these Lord effects and which one you are most looking forward to playing. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe so you can stay up to date with everything Warhammer 3. Consider supporting the channel by becoming a member on YouTube, a patron on Patreon, or a subscriber on Twitch. Doing so gets you shoutouts like It's Your Boy LC for their wonderful support at the Unclean Ones tier. Thank you to all supporters, thank you for watching, and for now, I've been COLONELDAMNEDERS, and I will see you next turn.